On this episode of CATCHJSBUFORD, we'll be covering the importance of ideals versus execution, setting your entrepreneurship itinerary, and the importance of practice. JuJuan Buford, your host, and hopefully at this point, in your entrepreneur journey, you define your why, right? Your locomotive, that crazy, big, audacious goal or goals, those things that are driving you, right? Because you're going to encounter a lot of turbulence, trials, and tribulations. And these things don't stop just because you made the decision to become an entrepreneur. Matter of fact, you can anticipate them on increasing in many respects, right? And look, that's not something to be upset about. At the end of the day, we're compensated for the challenges we transcend and overcome. In other words, the bigger the problems we solve, the greater our value proposition, and the bigger the monetary rewards, right? So we eat challenges like Skittles here. So look, here's the thing. You've achieved clarity of vision in mind. You've created your affirmations. You've placed them in places to keep them at the top of your mind. You're practicing mindfulness, and all those things are great. That's fantastic. However, while ideals and vision statements and affirmations and goal setting, all these things are critical. They're exciting. They're great. Execution is even better, right? And the bottom line is if you don't take action, none of it is going to be worth the paper that you took the time to write these things on. You know, people don't wake up in the morning planning to fail. They simply fail to plan properly. You know, and absent of planned activities, absent routines and habits, week after week, month after month, year after year, if you don't have these things in place, you're going to be in a situation where you're not experiencing real progress, and your goals will simply wither away. You know, it's like meeting a good friend. We've all experienced this before, right? You meet someone that you knew back in high school or in college more than 10 years ago, and you look up at them and, 20 years have gone by, but you realize they're not a day wiser. They haven't grown. They're really not a day older than when you last met them years ago. And that can easily happen in our businesses if you're not intentional about it. You know, the reality is absent actual itinerary or a growth plan on the progress along your journey, you're not likely to reach your destination efficiently, right? If you are taking aim at something, if you're reaching for something you haven't achieved before, and you don't have a roadmap, if you don't have a plan in front of you, chances are you're going to make one too many left and right turns, and you're just not going to get there in a timely fashion. Same thing is applicable here. You know, a lot of opportunities in business are missed because people simply aren't ready, right? And we've all heard the accent, right? Luck is a matter of preparation, meeting opportunity. Or for our purposes, I would share the success is when your preparation itinerary meets opportunity, right? So in other words, show me your calendar and I'll turn it around and I'll show you your future. That's the reality of the matter, right? You are becoming what you are doing. We don't need to have much in the way of a conversation or discussion regarding your future, your goals and ambitions, because how you're spending your time intentionally or unintentionally speaks clearly. It makes it clear where you're headed. The question is whether or not your current itinerary is actually taking you. And are you on a direct course for financial independence? Or are you in a direct course to be living a check-to-check lifestyle, living a life of desperation, buying the opinions of those who, quite frankly, aren't necessarily haven't taken your path before, or quite frankly, let's be real, who are sitting on pension checks and trying to tell you how to be successful financially. Look, if you still believe in job security today, you might as well believe in the tooth fairy. And if you're still waiting for those pensions that have long since ceased, you're going to be in a world of hurt too, right? So as entrepreneurs, we know we're building successful businesses and we're trying to put together our growth itinerary, right? We're being intentional about how we spend our time. There's a couple questions we should be able to answer, right? As entrepreneurs, number one, we should be able to answer, look, have I set aside time to sharpen the saw? Are you reading 10 to 20 pages of a good book a day? You know, leaders are readers. You meet someone, you can't engage them because they're reading and you're not. Understand this, leadership is a skilled trade, right? We're all reading, for the most part, some of the same books, right? Whether it be John C. Maxwell, Napoleon Hill, whether it be Grant Cardone, Malcolm Gladwell. These are books that, quite frankly, ring out when you're dealing with other leaders and people who are responsible for the management of other individuals and building businesses of scale, right? Robert Kiyosaki. The bottom line is, quote unquote, game recognizes game. And so if you're not reading, if you're not sharpening the saw, that speaks clearly to individuals whom you may be engaging and dealing with, but you might not have a growth plan in place. You know, are you investing in yourself? Whether it be a workshop, a seminar, a convention, or a networking event, you know, how much time are you dedicating to getting better at the game you're playing? You know, I've heard it said like this: iron sharpens iron. And, you know, for our purposes, I would submit that that's not necessarily true. Sharp iron sharpens iron. So how often are you getting around individuals? Are you surrounding yourself with people who are sharper than you? People who are further along playing the game that you're playing, right? And here's the thing. Now, I understand when you're first starting out, especially, every dollar counts. You're trying to figure out, you know, where will be the wisest investment of your time. But here's the thing. If you're not attending particularly conferences and workshops that are specific to your industry, and the only reason you're not attending those workshops is because of the expense, go anyway. The bottom line is, don't let your excuse for not going become your reason not to. You need to be there, right? That's how you increase your income. That's how you increase your capacity to do more, to go further, to go harder, right? You know, in the movies, people rise to the occasion, right? To their levels and hopes and dreams. But that just doesn't work in real life. In real life, people rise to their level of learning, to their level of practice and training. You know, any one of us who has family members who are in the military, we are acutely aware of this, right? It's kind of like a special club that we're a part of. We're aware that our family members have to go and leave from time to time to compete in what we would call, I guess, combat readiness training, right? We know that this training is necessary. We know that this training is important, right? Because at the end of the day, we know that the way you practice is the way you perform. If you practice excellently, you'll perform excellently. If you practice sloppily, or if your learning is sloppy, if it's haphazard, or not at all, and you or someone else, if they're in the military, that may result in a tragedy, right? That may result in death among that military member or one of their military partners, right? Well, look, some of us have been killing our businesses right from the start and not even realizing it, right? And that's the shame of it. So invest in yourself. How much time are you setting aside to do these things, right? When is your dedicated time to invite others about your business? That needs to be dedicated, right? You need to know in your schedule when you're going to set aside time to make invitations, whether it be, once again, networking events, whether it be time prospecting on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, whatever medium works best for you. Cold calling, knocking on doors if necessary. Of course, you know, I submit that if you are cold calling, if you're knocking on doors, that's your punishment for not asking for referrals. But when is your dedicated time to make sure that new people every single day are learning about your business? Look, when is your dedicated time to make presentations, right? Inviting someone, exposing someone to your business is different than educating them and giving a presentation. A presentation, if you will, whether it be online, in person, whatever the case may be, is when you have someone under favorable conditions taking time to really educate themselves about what you're doing. So that's a little bit something different other than a pitch. And you have to schedule these things. Once again, whether it be belly to belly, telephone conferences, webcasts, webinars, which is my favorite, because we all know that amateurs sell and professionals convince. Amateurs sell and attempt to convince, and professionals sort. The bottom line is, it is better to have 5, 10, 20 individuals learning about your business as opposed to, at one time, as opposed to having one-on-one individuals learn about your business. It just makes sense, right, to leverage your time in that manner. Creating happy clients and securing referrals. This is one thing that, once again, I encourage everyone to take advantage of and set time aside to do. You have to be purposeful about this, right? Until you place systems in place, you have to do it. You're the system. It is critical. Look, the front end, securing the sale, if you will, rewards you with the transaction. But it's the back end that builds your brand. Making sure that individuals are happy with the service or product they acquire from you actually builds your business. Look, if you're part-time, treat your business like a part-time job. If you're full-time, treat it like a full-time job. At your job, you attend a required training, right? Company meetings. And some of these meetings are 2, 3, 4, 5 hours long, right? For those of us who've been there and have experienced that. It doesn't necessarily need to be the truth or the case in terms of you building your business. That doesn't need to have to be your everyday circumstances, but you need to dedicate the same amount of time for training and orientation that you would at a job. Look, at the end of the day, I know it's easy to believe, or it's easy for people to respond with, look, I don't have time, right? I don't know where I'd be able to set aside the time between work, family obligations, academic commitments. I get it, right? But here's the thing. This is something we all know. And look, if this is applicable to you, look, the shoe fits, wear it. But if it doesn't, don't worry about it. But the average Joe is spending 10 to 20 hours a week online playing games. Let's be real. Watching the latest Steve Harvey and Monique feud, consuming content that's not necessarily helping them become better leaders, entrepreneurs, parents, educators, more civically responsible or aware. They're becoming no closer to financial independence than when they started their entrepreneurship journey. And that's just being real, right? The majority of people are working 40 hours a week, giving away 70, 80% of their time, right? 2,400 minutes a week to earn $300 to $600 a week. That is the majority of individuals. And when you consider that the majority of these jobs that they're working are going to be gone in a couple of years, man, that should be plenty of motivation, right, to set aside the time. The bottom line is we do things we want to do. We make time to do the things that are really important to us. I encourage everyone listening to this, take a moment. Take a look at your calendar, right? Look at your routines. Evaluate your itinerary and be honest about where your itinerary, your calendar, and your routines are taking you. If this content resonated with you, please do hit the like button, share the information, or offer your commentary. Look, I look at positive and negative commentary, pop them like Skittles, right? They're absolutely necessary to become better at providing content that is going to be able to assist individuals, particularly what I would like to refer to as actionable content that folks can take and not only be inspired, but apply to build their business and endeavors. So definitely thank you for taking time out of your schedule. Look, visit the growing community here on Facebook. CATCHJSBUFORD can be found also on Instagram, on JS Buford on Twitter, and also on YouTube. Please do, once again, make suggestions, offer insights, share success stories, any information you believe will help this channel become more effective. And as always, entrepreneurship is empowerment.